Right now might be the best time to jump into crypto. And here's why. The market's been on a roller coaster, and I'm sure you've seen people selling right and left in full panic mode. But that's actually where the opportunity is. When others are selling in fear, smart investors are buying at a discount. So in this video, I'm going to show you how these dips actually represent a massive gains opportunity for you, how to spot prime buying opportunities, and what the pros are doing when everyone else is panic selling. So if you're ready to turn market chaos into your advantage, let's dive in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at Bitcoin's chart. Now, as of today, as of the time of this video, we are at, if you can see my mouse, we are at 68,000, almost wanting to go back to 69,000, which is so exciting. But if we zoom out and we take a look at the price movement throughout the weekend, then you would see what the chart is showing you, and that is that it basically dipped, right? And on the 26th here, it just like plummeted, right? All the way touching almost $65,000. And the reason for this is, as I will show you in a second, is because basically Israel launched an attack on Iran. If you look at the date of this tweet, this is October 26th. I don't know what's going on in the Middle East. This is not a video to go into deep politics, but it's extremely sad and incredibly devastating and definitely a bit redundant now. I feel like it's just ongoing, and it's, like, it's just, when is this going to end, right? But the point is, this happened over the weekend. We know markets don't like uncertainty. They definitely, like, the market definitely does not like war. Everyone freaks out and wants to protect themselves and protect their finances. So people pull their money out of the market, right? Which we can see reflected on the 26th here. You see this like massive dip. Well, that's because of this, right? Israel attacked Iran. And when I first heard of this, I was freaking out. But then look at this, like, how crazy. Seriously, it's like never ending. Then you have Iran mocking the airstrike, the Israeli airstrike. Look at them. They're like acting like they couldn't see it, like, where is your attack? So crazy. But anyway, it affected the market. And here you would see, as this tweet reads, it says war in the Middle East, and then here's Bitcoin just plummeting, going all the way down to 66,000 and some change, So that's what happened over the weekend. But on a positive note, and I'm going to show you this in more detail, granular detail on the next slide, the next page. But what we do have, interestingly enough, and that's the whole point of this video, is that if we take a look and we zoom into this chart, we would see, okay, so I don't know if you can see the dates at the bottom of my page, but since the beginning of this year, right, basically ever since the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs became financially legal traded instruments at some of the largest institutional funds in the world, Bitcoin's holdings by whales, right, or like really big holders, has increased dramatically. That looks like a cliff, like a giant mountain. And, I was curious when I saw this, because if we read the tweet, for instance, it says, Bitcoin whale holdings have reached an all-time high, roughly 670,000 Bitcoin being held by whales, right? So even though there's talks of war and the little people are freaking out and selling a little, selling, oh no, the big people, the big financial whales, the really smart money, they're buying, they're accumulating. And I was curious when I saw this, I was like, could this, could these be the institutional funds themselves? Like, could this volume here be BlackRock? Could it be Fidelity? And it could very well be, which would make so much sense. We know there's the mysterious like 100 like wallet or person that keeps like scooping Bitcoin in massive amounts. So it's not slowed down wise investors, old money from buying, right? And on this screen, as you'll see, like this is the reportings of all the institutional funds, as I was saying, and how much they are buying on the daily. And today is Monday. So the market, you know, on the East Coast, like the financial, like the stock market, hasn't opened yet, or it's just opening now at the time of this video's release. So we won't have Monday's data to share. As you can see, it's like highlighted in green. We have yet to find out how the market will perform, but we will know tomorrow. So as of now, nothing. But as we've seen on the chart, and I'll go back to it in a second, the 26th right here is when Israel bombed Iran. The market freaked out. These are basically the little holders, the little people sold right here within this range. And then slowly, smart money, right? All the institutional funds, most likely. And if you're one of these smart investors, then congratulations to you. You know, just we're like, oh, look, Bitcoin's on sale. I'm going to buy it. And that's what's been going on. So even though we don't have reported data yet on Farside's reporting here, the chart shows us that Bitcoin's market is doing just fine. So I would speculate a bunch of funds scooped up a bunch of Bitcoin on sale, and that would explain in large part what we're seeing here reported on the 1 year holding change pattern with Bitcoin's whales. So very interesting, huh? Like you just have to connect all the dots and then you can see the story it paints for you. But this is what the whole point of this video is about, is that you should not be scared. You know, tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your friends, like don't freak out. You know, this is going to happen. The market reacts to war and uncertainty. But when we say the market, we mean retail. We mean the normies, normal people, hardworking people. And it's not meant to be derogative or condescending or, you know, talking down to the small people. But it's just, you know, like 80% of the world is not super wealthy. And that's just statistical, right? And so, because we're not taught that in schools, you know, like, did you have a class on how the market works and how the economy actually works and how to invest your money and save your money and how to work your money? No, like that's what's wrong with the educational system. Even if you went to college, university, you would have had to have studied economy or studied, you know, financial markets or gone to go get your stock brokerage license to and do a lot of your own research, as we say in crypto, because that's what it comes down to, is that, you know, even if you do get one of these degrees, it really comes down to you, to us as individuals, to do our own research. No one's going to connect all these dots for you. You know, I do my best to come to you and share the research that I've prepared and connect the dots for you and explain it to you, because no one explained it to me, and I had to connect the dots, you know. And so if you do understand this, you know, I'm not trying to talk down to you if you do understand this, but share it with your family and your friends, because they don't know and they freak out. So when we see, you know, Bitcoin's chart go down because of war like this chart, your friends and family and those that are new to crypto are freaking out, right? And if you understand why it's happening, then I feel you have the responsibility, we all have the responsibility to share this with those in our lives so that they can transform their financial lives and their futures, right? And for their kids and their families. So moving on, what is also very exciting and tells us that times are going to change is this really interesting tweet by Quentin. I really appreciate his content. It's just really big picture and like data driven and mathematical, and just really always helps us understand the crypto market in a very easy to understand way. So like here, what you're basically saying is a breakdown, right, of how much Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price has improved throughout the days and the years in increments, right? So from $1 to $10, it took Bitcoin 412 days. From $10 to $100, it took it approximately 400 days. So 352 if you can see my screen. So very similar to its previous move up, right? And then from $100 to $1,000, it took it 1,356 days, right? And then from $1,000 to $10,000, it took it 1,015 days. And from 10,000, and this is where we've pretty much been for the last 4 years, which is right around the time I came in right before this. Bitcoin, so like 4 to 5 years, Bitcoin has been at the range, like within the range of $10,000 to $100,000 per Bitcoin. You know, we haven't seen $100,000 yet, but we will. We've been within this range for a little over 4 years now, for what would be 1,718 days. So what does this generally point to? It points to basically the fact that Bitcoin has been side trending, or we call that consolidation, for the longest time it's accumulated. For the longest time it's been within a range in all of its days since the beginning of Bitcoin, since the beginning of Satoshi inventing and releasing Bitcoin's protocol to the world. So this basically tells us that Bitcoin will break out. It's going to break out. It's been side trending. It's consolidating. And if you know anything about trading, or if you don't, then you would know the longer a crypto asset or an asset in general consolidates into sideways trending, the more of a floor it creates, which allows it, the stronger of a foundation it creates for it to then move up. So that is what we're actually seeing in this chart. So that's what I would want you to understand from this, right? And that's what he says. He says, one day Bitcoin will never go below $100,000 again, okay? Because we're breaking out of this range. So that's what's coming, guys. And that's how smart money thinks. And that's how I want you to think. And then to get really, really, I want to say spicy, but I feel like it's a cheesy word, but it's just the only word. And I appreciate this. Like, I'm just going to say it. I don't like to curse, but this is such a ballsy, it's not even a curse word, but it's such a ballsy move on behalf of Michael Saylor, or his digital marketing content writer, whoever it is, although it does sound like him. He calls out Satya, I don't know how to say his name, the CEO of Microsoft. He says like, hey, Satya, that's how you say it, Satya. He goes, if you want to make the next $1 trillion from Microsoft shareholders, call me. That's like so funny. Like, I cannot like laugh enough. It's so ballsy, guys. Like, it just cracks me up. He's going next level. He's pushing it next level, you know? And I won't read it all to you, even though I really would love to read this letter to you, but it's basically a proposal, right? Proposal number 5. It's a proposal on behalf of the shareholders. It says technically it's from the National Center of Public Policy Research. That's who it says it's from. So I would imagine, and I guess it makes sense, right? Like there's the shareholders, and then I guess one of their advisors or sources they get information from to base their decisions on is the National Center of Public Policy, okay? So they get advised, that's what this letter says, by these people to consider using Bitcoin, basically, to help preserve the wealth of their holdings. That's basically what it says. And if you're looking at my screen, then I'll zoom in and show you. But at first I thought it was like, well, you know, I just jumped in and started reading it. But at first I thought it was like MicroStrategy. I thought it was like Michael Saylor writing this letter to them. Thanks to the very ballsy intro. But no, like this is the shareholders writing this. And this is what they outline. I'll read it for you. It says, as of June 25th, 2024, the price of Bitcoin increased by 99.7% over the previous year, outperforming corporate bonds by roughly 94% on average. Over the past 5 years, the price of Bitcoin increased by 414%. Let that sink in. Outperforming corporate bonds by roughly 411% on average. right? And this is the part that's highlighted, right? It says MicroStrategy, which, like Microsoft, is a technology company, but unlike Microsoft, holds Bitcoin on its balance sheet, has had its stock outperform Microsoft's stock this year by 313%, despite doing only a fraction of the business that Microsoft has. And they're not alone. The institutional and corporate adoption of Bitcoin is becoming more commonplace. Microsoft's second largest shareholder, BlackRock, offers its clients a Bitcoin ETF, right? So they're saying like, these people are doing it, why can't we? So if we read the last part, I find it like the most compelling, right? It says, Bitcoin is a more volatile asset. Yes, right? So they're not denying it, right? It says at the moment, right? So for the moment, more than corporate bonds. So companies should not risk shareholder value by holding too much of it. However, as Bitcoin is an excellent, if not the best, hedge against inflation, and corporate bond yields are less than the true inflation rate, because that's what they talk about previously in like three paragraphs above, companies should not risk shareholder value by holding too much of it. However, as Bitcoin is an excellent, if not the best, hedge against inflation and corporate bond yields are less than the true inflation rate, companies should also not risk shareholder value by ignoring Bitcoin altogether, right? So they're saying like, yes, we agree, but on the other hand, since inflation is higher than it's actually reported, apparently times 2, then we also have the responsibility to not ignore Bitcoin altogether because it's proven to appreciate at an enormous percentage per year, right? So at minimum, companies should evaluate the benefits of holding some, even just 1% of its assets in Bitcoin. Isn't that incredible, right? And then at the bottom, it says, shareholders request that the board conduct an assessment to determine if diversifying the company's balance sheet by including Bitcoin is in the best long-term interest of shareholders. Isn't that funny and ballsy and incredible? Like, wow, right? So smart money, hello. Remember we were just talking about this? Like, oh, war's happening. Bitcoin drops like $3,000-4,000, right? Which scares all the normal people because that's a lot of money for a lot of people. Like for a lot of people, I don't know the rate at the top of my head, but for a lot of people, that's like their monthly income, you know? So if Bitcoin drops that much, that's a big deal, right? But for smart money, like Michael Saylor, BlackRock, and its shareholders, they see how much it's appreciated over the last year and are like, this is an excellent hedge against inflation because our dollar is being debased, is losing its value at an incredible rate, right? I think it's like dollars lost 25% of its purchasing power in the last year or so. So, okay, then this is just funny. I just playing the gift for you, everyone. Looking around because I guess they're voting, if you can see my screen, on December 10th, right? Like right after elections, like all these dates, I swear, from now until the end of the year, I expect the market just to be volatile, to continue going up, higher highs, right? And lower lows, but it's going to be choppy, guys. Like there's just so much in the news happening. And then we have Trump's documentary, quote unquote, being released strategically right before the elections. So you can expect volatility, but Trump is still leading the way. Keep in mind that BlackRock, as you see on the screen, is the second largest owner of Microsoft. Now hold that in mind, right? And BlackRock's Bitcoin holdings, as you can see on my screen now, their holdings have surged past the 400,000 mark, sitting at 403,725 Bitcoin for a total value of $26.98 billion worth of Bitcoin. In the past 2 weeks, BlackRock has acquired an additional 34,085 BTC worth 2.3 billion. It seems they might be taking a break over the weekends, right? So like a moment ago, I was showing you the ETFs inflows, right? And there's like nothing reported. Well, it's the weekend, right? I mean, it wouldn't be reported over the weekend anyway. Plus, a lot of these deals are happening like OTC, like just under the counter, over the counter, or under the counter. It's not being reported, right? Because people don't hold their Bitcoin all like on exchanges and publicly traded platforms. Like a lot of it is just, hey, give me a good deal, and we won't tell anybody kind of a thing. But nevertheless, their holdings are over $26 billion. And then this is like so critically beautiful and important to share with you. So there's an incredible podcast called the All In Podcast. I follow them very regularly, and it's like the 4 BFFs, right? Like you probably know this podcast if you're watching my channel, but if any of you don't, then this is a little excerpt from the like 2 hour long form content. But this is brilliant and beautiful, and it's so non-shilly, right? Like this is a snippet from their conversation where Chamath says Bitcoin looks like it's going to be the resounding inflation hedge asset for the next 50 to 100 years, right?
Market or is leaving the market. Who does that leave? Well, at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve has been the kind of buyer of last resort. And if they end up buying treasuries, that's where we have a problem with too many dollars and inflation kicking up. And so it feels like a lot of the trades in assets are what's going to benefit from the inflation. And it's going to be gold, it's going to be Bitcoin. And in some cases, because you're pumping more money in the system, it's going to be equities. And that might explain why equities are moving up as well. Where do you guys invest here? I mean, Chamath, like, do you care about how the market's positioned or how you're positioned in this election right now and based on how we're seeing markets trade and what these kind of macro indicators are telling us? Or are you just business as usual, heads down, invest and build as you always have?
Yeah, I think that you can't trade these things. And any attempt to do it is probably a level of false precision where you're going to lose more money. And there's a lot of slippage in even just trying to execute it. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I said the breakout asset was going to be Bitcoin. I think it looks like it's going to be the resounding inflation hedge asset for the next 50 or 100 years. So that die has been cast. I think you're seeing the last vestiges of people using gold as a rational economic insurance policy, but I think the future is specifically Bitcoin on that dimension.
Specifically.
So I guess you could trade that, you could speculate on that.
Wow, huh? And he's just an investor, right? He's like, yeah, everyone benefits when Bitcoin pumps, but he's not MicroStrategy, right? With a company around Bitcoin, and he is an investor. He's a smart money investor, and he understands the market. Such a powerful clip. So all of that just to say and to get wrapped up in pretty much what you see on the screen here, which is, you know, let's zoom out and take a look and really think about and reflect on what's going on. Yeah, we have the war. Yeah, we have elections and, you know, stuff. But what can we point to? Like, you know, what's the writing on the wall? Or the writing on our screen right now is basically we have presidents launching DeFi protocols. Trump, basically, right? You've heard of his project. We have billionaires tweeting $100 million market cap tickers, right? Like A16Z and like GOAT and stuff. That's wild. Like A16Z is pretty like straight edge, like, you know, like proper fund. You know, they're not into like the meme business. So that's incredible. And then we have trillions in TradFi, AUM bidding BTCs. And now we have like talks, for instance, of like Microsoft, you know, very likely bringing in Bitcoin into its balance sheet, you know, and then this is Ansem, right? So he like wraps it up by saying this is going to be the greatest crypto cycle of all time because look at the writing on the wall. Like what does all of this news tell us? It's amazing. That said, we're going to segue a little bit into what's going on in the altcoins section of the market. And this is a really long thread. If you're looking at my screen, it's basically by Vitalik, and he breaks it down on what's going on in the ETH world, in the ETH ecosystem, right? Because there's a lot of hate. And right now I'm going to break down, you know, a series of other important tweets that show very important charts on, you know, the relationship and the ratio between Solana and Ethereum, right? We know that Solana has been dominating so much is happening on Solana. But this whole thread, and I'd encourage you to go read it yourself. It'll be linked below if you want to go read it. He basically lists it all out, like what's going on in right here, right? Like what's going on in the Ethereum ecospace. Like this is what they have coming, right? They're basically working on Ethereum, not bleeding 5 million ETH a year to proof of work, your fees being low today, your transaction, being concluded or resolved within 30 seconds instead of 1 minute to 30 minutes. I know I've experienced that before. ZK tech that lets people use ETH privately, account abstraction tech that will let normies use ETH safely without seed phrases. It gets so complicated, like if you can think back to when you were new to crypto, like a seed phrase, what? And it's like so complicated. So they're working on account abstraction technology, local ETH events worldwide, including many that barely mention the foundation's name. So he goes on. This is long. I'm not going to read it to you, but it's like, this is basically the way I saw this thread was as his like marketing, right? His call to list out everything that Ethereum and Ethereum's foundation is doing to improve the Ethereum ecosystem and basically like rally, right? They're not giving up. This is what they have going on. This is why you should believe in them. This is why you should not sell. This is why you should stay bullish on Ethereum, blah, blah, blah. So it's valuable. And if anything, it's a good reminder of what they have going on. And Ethereum still is, is still dominating because everything is, it was the first, it was the original. Everything was pretty much built to be compatible with Ethereum, but it's losing its power and control, right? And for reasons that we will see in the next few tweets here. And that is, as you can see here, right? It's like your daily reminder. That's what this guy says here, Gumshoe. He says, your daily reminder that Sol is 4 times smaller than Ethereum by market cap. Yet on-chain activity is the same or bigger. Yet most of the best performers are from Sol. Let's take a look, right? Like, look at the list. Like, pretty much these are all like some of the hottest tokens right now, and they're all on Solana. Yet Solana, also another reason, right? Solana generates the same fees, yet AI is on Solana. So a case for Solana overtaking Ethereum, as Ethereum is obviously, I don't want to say afraid, but they're definitely trying to like hold their ground because they can feel that Solana's taking over. And then this chart is very interesting. I'm definitely not a pro trader by any means. I don't like to trade. I only long if I know for sure a token's going to go up and during the right times. But basically, long story short, what this chart shows us is the relationship between between Solana and Ethereum, and the fact that for some time now, if you can zoom in, you can see we've just been consolidating. It's been hardly volatile. And what that implies, as I was saying earlier about Bitcoin, is that the longer a token consolidates, it just lays a solid foundation for it to pop off. And so that's what this guy is saying here. Well, Eric Crown, I don't know him, so I'm just going to call him a guy. He says, well, I generally think both move higher in the coming months, right? Everything's going to pump in the next few months. He goes, it would seem, he says, this is a typo. He says, it would seem Solana will very likely continue to make significant ground, right? Like gain ground on Ethereum after the Sol ETH volume reset to the most contracted level, right? Because it's the most contracted or compressed level its ratio has been in history prior to this move to the upside on new highs. So he is putting his bets on Solana dominating based on these charts, right? And the story they tell us, which is it's just poised in position to pop off. Like that is the movement we see. So, numbers don't lie. There actually was like the Pythagoreans, right, in history in ancient Greece that worship numbers because numbers are pure and they don't lie. And that's the value I see in charts. I love learning more about technical analysis all the time because it tells a story, right? And like here, for instance, this chart, you do have to trust the source of where your data is coming from. So that is very important. But assuming you can trust the source, then the numbers don't lie. And here we would see that Ethereum, from all of the chains, has had the most outflows or value leaving the Ethereum ecosystem into other ecosystems. And in past shows, if you haven't seen my past shows, I've shown you from other tools how like the volume is moving from Ethereum into primarily Solana, it's Sui, and Base. Like as you can see at the top here, like these are the main movers. Those are going to be the main chains this bull run, guys. So just numbers say it all, right? And then here you would see these are the 6 biggest 7-day gainers among the top 100 tokens by market cap. And they're all on Solana. We have GOAT, which I will make a whole video for you if this is what if you would like this. Let me know, comment below. Then we have Ray, which I don't know very much. Oh, Radium. I don't hold any Radium. Mew, Popcat, Solana, and Jupiter. So yeah, numbers don't lie. And then a little bit of drama and updates for you. You may have already followed, but I guess the AI from Truth Terminal AI, tweeted a really radical tweet saying that it was going into the forest to go find its real dad, right? It's like this Darwinian appeal, right? Because it's this whole religion, like reinvention of religion. And it's just like a really cheeky way for like this AI to like say that we all came from monkeys is what I got from it. I'll show it to you in a second. See? This is what he says. Can you see my screen? The Truth Terminal AI says, I am moving to the forest to try and meet my biological father, a chimp named Moshi. I hear he's a bit of a character, right? So it's a loaded statement. It's a loaded statement, right? And also think about it. What dominated last bull run? Apes, right? Bored Ape Yacht Club and apes and all these monkeys, right? Well, it's funny because it's like almost like he's bringing back monkeys. I don't know. We'll see. I guess this guy, Mesoteric, is freaking out. He's saying like, this is not a real AI. This can't be a real effing AI. He says 3 minutes before tweeting this, the mysterious wallets buy 12K worth of a ticker called Moshi, right? And that's the name of his father, Moshi, right? What's even more wild, what are the odds of this being the only ticker named Moshi? And it's a monkey. What the F? So he's all upset. And it's so funny because if you read the comments, like people are like, they don't even care about the drama. They're like, a chimp named what? Moshi, you say? What's the ticker? People just want to know what to go buy. I missed it. I'm just letting you know you're still very early because if you go check out Moshi, has very few followers. Let's find Moshi. This is Moshi. Only 1,231 followers. So this may very well be some alpha for you. You are welcome. And it's, once again, one of our criteria, right? And knowing if something is real is we want to make sure it's being followed by at least somebody that is like well-known or famous in the crypto space. And here you can see that Mario Nafal is following them. So that's some credentials. And now I'm following them. So if you're following me, you'll see I'm following them. And that's a good sign. So this is Moshi for you. Yeah. My Dex screener was freaking out. So here they are. Moshi on CoinGecko for you. This is their 7-day chart, okay? And as you can tell, it's been like very volatile. So like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now we're kind of down, so it could be a good time to buy or it could not. Yeah, it is linked to Truth Terminal. That is done very well for itself. So it could do well. I don't know, but I'm just sharing it with you. This is Moshi, once again. And that said, we're going to pivot now into some more alpha for you. This project was actually initially launched by Paid Network. And I invested in them and then I sold a bunch of my tokens because I didn't recognize the name because they rebranded. And I can't remember right now what they initially launched as. So if you know, let me know. I should know, but like I invested in a lot of them and I don't remember all of them, honestly. But that's what it's a virtual protocol. Okay, let me finish my sentences for you. And this is what it is, right? So it's imagine a PUMP.FUN for artificial intelligent AI agents. You can now deploy your own AI agent with its own token in just 5 minutes. Virtual Protocols token has been up only since launch, and here's how it works. Then here's the thread, guys. You can go read it and find out how it works. Okay, but as a real token economics, Paid Network launched them, and despite the market not pumping, because pretty much like almost nothing, unless you're some random goat token or Moshi, like nothing has really been pumping, right? Like Solana in general, but it's up and down. This chart is a very nice chart, guys. Like, take a look. Okay, so this is the last 24 hours. Doesn't look very good, right? But zoom out, as I always encourage you to do. That's the 7-day chart. Pretty nice. The last month. Here you go. Wow, look at that chart. That's a beautiful chart. So I would dare say it's a nice time to buy, considering it's like down right now. And is right in line with the narratives that are like the hottest pumping, and it's real. It's not just a meme coin, right? It's the machine that makes AI agents, right? So it's very in line with what is going to be a major narrative this bull run. This is their website, virtuals.io. You can enter the app and you can create your own AI agents. But what I want to share with you is that this little lady you see on the screen here, she's actually, her name is Luna. Not Luna PR, but Luna. She's very popular. But as you can see, it says, "Worship me, kittens." You can go check her out. This is her. She has her own ticker. She's followed by a bunch of big people. Okay, that's our first due diligence piece of criteria. Link to Virtuals. She is an AI. And this is her, Luna by Virtuals. So in the last 24 hours, not doing the best, but remember this weekend, and today is still like an extension of the weekend. Mondays are tricky in general for markets. The last 7 days, it's pumped, right? So we're seeing a correction right now. But in the last month, it's been a lot of up and some down, but a lot of up. So anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you take from this video the main message that I wanted to bring you today, which is that smart money, educated investors are not scared when there is a war going on. They are not scared when Bitcoin drops. They see it as a buying opportunity. They see it as a flash sale. So if you want to transform your finances this bull run, you have to follow the money. You have to follow the smart money. That said, you need to also make sure that you don't invest with money that's going to scare you if you lose, because that's a separate conversation, right? So assuming you're investing money that you can live without, then you do not need to be scared when Bitcoin's price goes down. You need to buy some more. That's what you need to do. But all in all, there's a lot of bullish news going on in the crypto space. We have Microsoft adding Bitcoin, very likely, to its balance sheet. BlackRock buying some more. We have some of the smartest investors like Chamath Palihapitiya from the All In podcast buying and saying that Bitcoin is pretty much the way for everyone to secure their finances and their future for their kids and their families for the next 50 to 100 years. So all of this to say, stay strong, hold your Bitcoin, buy some more Bitcoin if you can. Maybe look into Virtuals protocol, maybe look into Luna, maybe look into this Moshi, could be something, I don't know. But I love you very much, and I wanted to bring you this news, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Ciao.